Good morning, students. Today we are going to start a new poem, that is Crossing the Bar, written by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Alfred Lord Tennyson was born in 1809 and died in 1892. He was a poet laureate of Great Britain and Ireland and one of the major English poets of a Victorian age. This particular poem, Crossing the Bar, was written just 3 years before he died. Since the poem was written at the advanced stage of his life, or rather in his advancing years, so obviously in this particular poem we will find the poem will definitely convey a sense of finality. Alright, this particular poem, Crossing the Bar, though it's written in the form of an elegy, but it's not like the other elegies. That means it does not mourn over any personal loss or lamentation. Rather, in this particular poem, we will be finding that this poem is a philosophical meditation on death and a person's calm acceptance over it. Alright. So this is basically the things you need to know. As I will be going on with the explanation, I will be providing some more informations. So let us start the poem. Sunset and evening star, and one clear call for me. Sunset and evening star. This particular line, sunset and evening star, it actually points out a calm and a serene picture of an evening, obviously, and one clear call for me. So here, one clear call for me, it's actually call towards death, but it's commencing, obviously this call, clear call obviously indicates commencing of a new journey. A death is not merely death, it's not only call for death, rather call of death, rather it's something that commences towards a new beginning, a new journey. A person after death can be united with Almighty. So here this possibility we find. And may there be no mourning of the bar when I put out to sea. And the poet does not want that it means his final call or this clear call, it means it will not be disturbed by anyone. Okay, then may there be no mourning of bar when I put out to sea. When I start my journey, there should not be any sort of noise, any sort of mourning over it. Alright, so as I told that the clear call, here the word clear call is very much important, and mourning of the bar, it's a new journey, new opening towards something towards heaven. Alright, something eternal. So here the woman's clear call, it's not as I told, it's not literal, it's rather a metaphorical belief that his end is quite near, and he must not ignore, rather he must obey to this call, he must surrender to this call. So the poet doesn't want that the morning of the bar means when he will set for his final call, it should not be disturbed. Okay, means tide should not ebb his journey, rather. But such a tide as moving seems asleep, too full for sound and foam, when that which drew from out the boundless deep turns again home. Now he says, but such a tide as moving seems asleep. Again the poet continues with the metaphor, and he says that as he will be moving on, as he will start his journey, as he will continue his sea voyage, the poet doesn't want that means any sort of full tide or something, any sort of sound, like here the word sound and foam, too full for sound and foam. That means when he will start his sea voyage, no sort of this sound and form collectively it represents his doubts and confusion. So there should not be any sort of noise or violent movements of the foam. That means there he wishes that it should be such a tide which will not be anyhow disturbed with his materialistic doubts or confusions. It will be doubtless, confusionless, so that without any sort of he can carry on his boundless journey in its depth. Alright, when that which drew out the boundless deep turns again home. When that which drew means here this last two lines, it indicates that the soul, his soul may be united again from the infinite space from where it was first means from where it first came. So obviously he wants to be united with God once again. So this particular poem, as I told, that particular era, there was means it was a time when there was certain scientific discoveries like Darwinian theory of evolution and all those things. There was a time when people ceased to believe in Christianity as well as in the power of spiritualism. In that particular time, this particular poem also again once again it establishes, or it again draws us, takes us to towards faith on Christianity. So in such a condition, in such an era, the poet he once again surrenders to Christianity. He wants his soul to turn again home, means to turn again back to infinite space from where the soul comes originally. Twilight and evening bell, and after that the dark, and may there be no sadness of farewell when I embark. So again, twilight and evening bell, these two images are used. These they once again metaphorically suggest his old age and close of life. So when it's the time when he is old, and it indicates closing of his life as well. So after that the dark, means he is back to his Almighty, the eternal world of death. So there he doesn't want any sort of mourning over his death. Rather he wants there be no sadness of farewell when I embark, means when people should not mourn over his departure, when he will be means when he will start his sea voyage or his journey towards the eternal world of death. He doesn't want people to mourn over his departure. Rather, he wants his exit to be mirthful, devoid of grief and melancholy, and for that he clearly says that may there be no sadness of farewell when I embark. For though from out our bourne of time and place the flood may bear me far. Far means far, where it's eternity that replaces transience. So he wants to he wants that flood to take him beyond time and place. There nothing will be means as it is found in materialistic world or mortal world, that is limited in the constraints of time and place. So he wants to be in a place where things are not revolving around, or things are not bound in time and in the chain of time and place. So he wants the flood to take him far where eternity replaces transience. I hope to see my pilot face to face when I have crossed the bar. So here we find the poet wants his pilot. Pilot means God. He wants to stand face to face to his master, the pilot. All right. So here the poet knows that death is something inevitable, you cannot avoid. So pondering over it is it absolutely meaningless and it's futile. So the poet, as it is the word pilot, once again it signifies his ardent spiritual belief, as that age was an age of scientific vision. So once again the poet establishes his surrender towards Christianity as well as spiritualism. So as I was telling, so the poet doesn't want that his journey should be interrupted or disturbed or affected by anyone. It will not. He wants to get to a place where eternity replaces transience, and he wants to face his pilot, his master. He wants to stand in front of his master, and that is obviously once again his surrender towards spirituality. So this is all about the poem Crossing the Bar. I hope you all could understand. If you can't understand, I will be if I want you all to go through each line. If there is any sort of query or doubt or any sort of things that is not clear to you all, you can ask me directly in live class. I will definitely try to highlight on those parts. So this is all about Crossing the Bar. This much for today. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.